What if humanity isn't just a species on the edge of survival? What if we're a force so dangerous, so unpredictable, that an entire galaxy fears us? The Argonaut, our last hope, was lost in the stars for 53 years. But it came back. And what it found could change the future of humanity forever. But this isn't just a story about a ship. It's about a secret war that has been brewing for centuries, hidden from the human race. A war with creatures beyond our understanding, creatures who fear humanity's very potential. Stay tuned to find out what happens when the Argonaut comes face to face with its enemies, and why humanity's evolution has already begun. The Argonaut, an iconic symbol of humanity's ambition and reach, had vanished 53 years ago, swallowed by the enigmatic abyss of the Veil Nebula. The region itself was notorious for its unnatural stillness, a dead calm where no starship dared venture without risking the unpredictable forces that distorted spacetime. The nebula had long been a cautionary tale, whispered about in the dark corners of star charts, its mystery cloaking it in myth. It was here that the Argonaut had disappeared, its final transmission a haunting echo, fading into oblivion. Once a proud vessel of the Earth Federation, the Argonaut's disappearance left a scar on the collective consciousness of humanity. Its crew, brilliant men and women of science, explorers of the unknown, were believed to be lost forever, their fate sealed by the merciless maw of deep space. For decades, the ship was no more than a ghost story. It became a symbol, a chilling reminder of how far humanity had reached, only to be cruelly reminded of its fragility. A warning. And yet, 53 years later, a signal, a distress beacon, emerges from the heart of Sector 9 Gamma, the exact region where the Argonaut was last seen. The signal is faint, fractured, and carries with it a chilling sense of urgency. At first, it's dismissed. Command assumes it's a joke, a trap, or maybe even the echo of a distant star's dying breath, stretching across time. Some believe it's an anomaly, perhaps even a glitch in the fabric of reality itself. But the truth doesn't remain hidden for long. The Lancer, a Federation scout ship, is dispatched to investigate. The crew of the Lancer, led by Commander Darrow, is given a simple directive: find out what's left, and if possible, retrieve any data. They approach the coordinates with suspicion, aware that they are headed toward the most dangerous, unexplored region of space. Their mission, though straightforward, carries with it an unspoken dread, the fear that the Argonaut might have been waiting for them all this time, not just in space, but through the folds of reality itself. As the Lancer nears the coordinates, the view screens flicker with an eerie static. Time seems to stretch, pulling the ship through a slow, unnerving crawl. The Argonaut looms in the distance, silent, still, as if suspended in the very air of space. A sharp contrast to the chaotic nebula around it, the ship hangs like an apparition, frozen in an eternity of cosmic dust. Commander Darrow, his heart racing with a mix of awe and dread, steps onto the derelict bridge of the Argonaut. His boots thud softly against the floor, but in the silence of the ship, it sounds like a distant echo. The air is unnaturally still, as though the ship itself is holding its breath. He takes a step forward, his eyes scanning the familiar rust-red sigil of the Earth Federation on the ship's console, its metal frame still holding its once proud insignia, now strangely undisturbed. It's as if time itself had not dared touch this vessel, this relic of the past. And then, his eyes fall on the crew. They are seated in their stations, just as they had been over half a century ago. But something is wrong. The air feels thick, and their skin has an unnatural glow. Blue, a soft, ghostly glow that flickers and pulses under the dim lights, as if trapped in the thrall of some ancient force. Their bodies, frozen, yet still intact, are perfectly preserved, not decayed, not even aging. Their eyes, though vacant, occasionally twitch as though caught in some long, looping dream. It's as if they're not truly dead, but caught in a state of suspended animation. The lights above flicker weakly, casting long, wavering shadows across the control room. The ship hums faintly, its metallic bones creaking like an old house in the wind. But there's something more, a strange, almost imperceptible vibration running through the very walls, as if the Argonaut is not merely a ship, but a living organism, breathing in sync with the deep pulse of space itself. Commander Darrow's breath catches in his throat as he approaches the captain's chair. The air here is colder, as if it's been waiting for him. He reaches out, his hand trembling as it hovers near the captain's console. His touch lingers just above the surface, and the ship responds, a subtle hum beneath his fingertips, as though it is aware of his presence. But there is no answer. No whispers, no voices from the crew. They are all still, preserved in time, like statues frozen in the act of something they never finished. Something's wrong. His thoughts race as he calls out to command, his voice echoing through the cold, empty corridors of the Argonaut. But the response is not what he expects. The signal, once strong, begins to distort, its clarity shattered. Every attempt to contact command fails. The ship's systems are unresponsive. It's as though a shadow has descended on the vessel, one that scrambles everything it touches. The distress signal from Sector 9 Gamma had been a warning. A beckoning. Now, it feels like a trap. As Darrow steps back from the control console, his mind whirls. The mystery of the Argonaut deepens. This ship, once a symbol of human ambition, has become something else. Something beyond humanity's understanding. The ship isn't just a derelict vessel, it's a portal to something greater, more terrifying. A warning from the future, from a future that humanity is not ready for. The Argonaut had returned, but not for the reasons they believed. It had come back to show them something else, something that had been lost to time, but not forgotten. The ship had been waiting. Dr. Kylran was young, brilliant, and driven by an unyielding curiosity, a mind eager to untangle the threads of the unknown. Assigned to study the Argonaut, he had already uncovered strange anomalies within the ship's hull, materials that didn't belong in the Earth Federation's arsenal, alloys whose origins were baffling, even to the most seasoned engineers. But what caught his attention most were the energy fields that pulsed throughout the ship. They resonated at an unnatural frequency, something beyond human comprehension, like a hum that vibrated within the very air itself. It wasn't just technology, it was something alive, a heartbeat echoing within the metal. With every step he took deeper into the Argonaut, the sense of unease grew. The walls seemed to shift subtly, as if responding to his presence, bending in ways that defied the principles of physics. The air was thick, almost charged, vibrating with a current that made the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. The ship, with its smooth, alien alloys, felt like it was watching him, studying him in turn. His every movement seemed to trigger a response, as though the very ship was attuned to his thoughts. It wasn't long before Kyle stumbled upon something far more terrifying than strange alloys or unknown energies. Hidden deep within the heart of the Argonaut, in an area marked only by a series of cryptic symbols, was the ship's core. His heart raced as he approached, the cold steel of the walls around him dimming to a soft, eerie glow. The core was unlike anything he had ever seen, pulsating, not mechanical, but organic, as though it had grown from the very bones of the ship itself. It was an orb, black and shimmering, swirling with fluid darkness that seemed to shift and writhe within. Kyle could feel it, feel the presence within the orb, as if the core was conscious, alive. There was an alien intelligence inside, something far beyond human understanding. He hesitated, his scientific mind battling with the growing dread in his chest. But curiosity, as always, won out. He reached forward, fingers trembling, and as his hand brushed against the surface, a wave of energy surged through him. A sudden jolt of vision hit him, overwhelming his senses. His surroundings blurred, and he found himself no longer standing in the cold chamber of the Argonaut, but on the edge of a battlefield, vast, alien, and incomprehensible. He saw ships, not ships, but massive, living, biomechanical constructs, crashing through space, moving in patterns that seemed to bend time itself. The very fabric of reality around him quivered as the ships moved like predators, sleek and cold, their presence bringing an oppressive silence to the expanse of space. The vision shifted, a war, ancient and unrelenting, stretching far beyond the boundaries of human charts. On one side, the Valari Ascendancy, an ancient species, impossibly vast and chillingly precise, their cold, calculating nature making them a terrifying foe. They were not conquerors, they were eradicators, bent on wiping out anything they deemed imperfect, anything that threatened the flawless order of the galaxy. And then, Kyle saw Earth, humankind, helpless against this force. He watched in horror as the Valari tried to erase the Argonaut, tearing the ship out of time itself, pulling it into the folds of space where it would never be able to return. They were certain they had succeeded. But what they didn't anticipate, what they couldn't comprehend, was that the Argonaut was more than a ship. It had adapted. It had absorbed alien technology, evolving into something far more than human engineering could ever have made. The vision wavered, showing Kyle fleeting glimpses of the future, a humanity on the brink of extinction. He saw cities in flames, the Earth itself on the edge of collapse, and yet, there was a flicker of light amidst the destruction. The Argonaut had returned, carrying with it the knowledge and power to fight back. It was not a symbol of human weakness, but of human potential, the last line of defense. The alien intelligence within the core spoke to him then, not in words, but in thoughts, feelings, fragments of future memories that pieced together a dark narrative. Humanity was not just another species in the vast universe. It was a threat, something the Valari could not predict, a chaotic, stubborn force that could not be controlled. And that was why they had tried to destroy it, to ensure that humanity never had the chance to become something more. The Argonaut had been torn through time to stop that future. But the ship had evolved, and now it had returned to offer humanity a chance to survive, to grow beyond its limitations, and to prepare for the Valari's final assault. The vision shifted again. Now Kyle saw humans, fighting back. Not with advanced technology, not with sheer strength, but with something far more primal. Humans were fighting with creativity, with innovation, with the sheer will to adapt. A woman, torn from the ravages of war, used nothing but a scrap of metal to tear through a Valari ship, a young child wielding tech that shouldn't exist, bending spacetime with nothing but their thoughts. The Valari, an ancient, cold empire, were terrified, and that terror was what had brought them to erase humanity. The core, the ship, had absorbed all this knowledge, had seen the future where humanity triumphed, not through technology, but through its ability to adapt, to survive, to change. Kyle stepped back from the core, shaken, his body trembling with the weight of the vision he had just witnessed. He could barely process what he had seen, the flood of information too vast, too impossible. His mind struggled to comprehend the enormity of what he had just been shown, but one thing was clear: humanity was not just on the brink of extinction, it was about to become something that the universe had never seen before. And the Argonaut, this once forgotten relic, was the key. It had survived, evolved, and returned not to simply warn Earth, but to prepare it for what was coming. The Valari Ascendancy would stop at nothing to destroy humanity, to wipe the species from existence before it could ever reach its true potential. But the Argonaut had returned to make sure that humanity wouldn't just survive. It had come to make sure that humanity would fight back. The message was clear, and it was now up to Dr. Kyle Ren to carry it to the rest of the human race: prepare, or be wiped out. The choice was theirs. Luna Base had always been a symbol of humanity's scientific triumph, a bastion of knowledge and technological progress. But now, as the first tremors of chaos ripple through its corridors, it feels less like a fortress and more like a captive, shackled by the weight of an ancient, alien force. The base's sleek, metallic walls, once pristine, now seem to breathe, warping and shifting as if alive, responding to the dark energies emanating from the Argonaut. Inside, Kyle Ren sits alone in a small isolation cell, his mind torn between the horrors he has witnessed and the urgency of the task ahead. The Federation, paranoid and confused, has locked him away, questioning his sanity, his perceptions, and the truth he claims to have seen. But as the cold silence of his cell wraps around him, the core calls to him, not with the furious demand of an invader, but with a subtle, almost desperate plea. It is not angry. It is not malicious. It is scared, and it is waiting for him. Through the thick, sterile walls of his confinement, Kyle senses the tremors, a pulse, low but persistent, coming from the Argonaut. His mind thrums with the connection, an invisible tether pulling him toward it. Outside, the base begins to unravel. The security systems glitch, flickering in and out of existence. Lights flash erratically, casting long, disorienting shadows across the hallways. The hum of machinery falters, replaced by an unsettling silence that permeates every corner of the station. More than once, crew members report strange gravitational shifts, as if the very fabric of space within the base is warping. Objects float unnaturally, shifting and tilting as if caught in an invisible storm. The air feels heavier, charged with a static energy that makes the hairs on the back of one's neck rise. It isn't just a technical malfunction, it's something far deeper, something more insidious. But perhaps most unsettling are the visions. The crew, once steadfast and grounded in the realities of the Federation, begin to experience the same strange dreams Kyle had seen in the core. Their eyes flicker with the same unseen terror, their faces pale as they witness, like Kyle, the horrors of the Valari Ascendancy and the inevitable destruction of Earth. In these dreams, they see the same future, a cold, unfeeling alien race, erasing human potential with brutal efficiency. The visions ripple through the base like a virus, infecting minds, blurring the lines between reality and nightmare. Some scream in terror, unable to escape the images of what is to come. Others curl into fetal positions, their hands pressed to their eyes as though to shield themselves from an oncoming storm they cannot see but feel deep in their bones. Kyle cannot stay. With a sense of urgency, he breaks free from his confinement, slipping past the guards in a haze of confusion and shifting space. The path to the Argonaut is no longer clear. The very layout of Luna Base has been altered, its corridors twisting and turning like some kind of alien labyrinth. It feels as though the station itself is holding its breath, waiting, shuddering, as if it knows what's coming, and as if it's afraid. When Kyle reaches the docking bay, the Argonaut is waiting for him, but it is no longer the ship it once was. Its metallic frame has evolved. The hull pulses with an organic rhythm, its once rigid lines now flowing like veins through the ship, alive with energy. The corridors inside hum, their walls undulating gently as though breathing. It is as if the ship, the core, has become something more, not just a machine, not just a vessel, but a living entity. It has absorbed the knowledge of countless timelines, folding them into its very structure. Kyle steps inside, his heart racing as he feels the familiar weight of the core's influence wrap around him. He walks through the ship's halls, feeling the vibration in the air, the hum of energy beneath his feet. The ship's pulse is faster now, more insistent, as if it has become aware of his presence, and it is waiting for him to understand. Kyle's mind sharpens, and he finally grasps what the Argonaut has become, a time-folded ark, a vessel not just of survival but of knowledge, a repository of the future. It has lived through the wars to come, has absorbed the alien technology that humanity would one day need. The ship is no longer just a tool, it is humanity's last hope. Outside, the storm clouds of the future are gathering. The Valari fleet, ancient, cold, and terrifying, approaches Earth, ready to erase humanity from the stars. Their ships are not just machines, they are creatures, grown from the fabric of the cosmos, shaped into predators that move with a precision that makes them unstoppable. The Federation, overwhelmed and paranoid, has locked down Luna Base, sealing it off from the rest of humanity. The Argonaut, alone and evolving, is Earth's final line of defense. Kyle understands now. Earth is no longer just facing a threat from an alien race. It is facing the wrath of time itself, a future where humanity is crushed before it even has the chance to rise. But the Argonaut, the ship, the core, the future, is ready. Humanity must adapt. It must evolve. It must fight back. The core wakes, sending a surge of power through the ship. Kyle feels the knowledge of centuries, the weight of 1,000 lifetimes of war and survival, flooding his mind. The Argonaut is more than a ship, it is a warrior, a survivor, an entity with its own purpose. And now, it is choosing humanity. The ship's power surges, filling the corridors with a hum of anticipation, as if preparing to unleash all of its stored potential. The Valari are coming, and humanity must be ready. The future is no longer a distant possibility, it is unfolding right now, and the Argonaut has returned to ensure that humanity survives, not as it was, but as it must become. It is a warning, a promise, and a challenge. The war is beginning, and only one side will emerge victorious. The vast, cold emptiness of space is broken only by the slow, relentless approach of the Valari fleet. A procession of ships unlike anything humanity has ever encountered. They are not machines as Earth understands them, they are living, biomechanical constructs, with the grotesque elegance of predators made from the bones of the universe itself. Their hulking forms ripple with dark energy, emitting a low hum that vibrates in the very core of one's being. Each ship is a living, breathing weapon, forged from the raw material of the galaxy's most ancient, unfathomable secrets. The Valari do not merely conquer, they consume, they erase. From the bridge of the Argonaut, Kyleran watches as the vast, alien armada approaches the outer edges of the solar system. His mind, now fully entwined with the core, pulses with strange, alien thoughts, visions of the coming destruction. He feels the weight of the Valari's intentions, an entire species, driven by fear and arrogance, arriving to wipe out humanity before it can ever rise to its potential. There is no room for doubt, no time for hesitation. The Federation's defenses are futile against such an unstoppable force. An order is issued: eliminate the Argonaut before it can unite with its crew, before it can become a threat to the Valari's perfect control. Fleet Command believes the ship is simply another tool, another machine to be destroyed. But they do not understand what the Argonaut has become. As missiles streak through space, arcing toward the Argonaut, a subtle hum rises from deep within the ship. The core, glowing with an otherworldly light, shifts in response, like a living heart beating in sync with the rhythms of the universe. The missiles approach, their sleek bodies cutting through the void with deadly precision, but then, they stop. Mid-flight. Frozen. The ship itself does not move. It does not fire weapons or deploy any countermeasures. Instead, the core bends the very fabric of reality. The missiles are no longer obeying the laws of physics. The core rewrites spacetime itself, shattering the trajectory of the incoming projectiles. The missiles disassemble, atom by atom, scattered across the void like dust in the wind. It is not destruction, it is unmaking, the very essence of the Valari's weapons undone by a power they could not have anticipated. On the Argonaut, Kyle feels it, a strange, overwhelming force, pulsing through his very being. His mind and the ship are no longer separate, they are one. The core, with its alien consciousness, has chosen him as its conduit, its guide. He is no longer merely human. The ship's technology melds with his thoughts, enhancing his ability to perceive and manipulate the world around him. His senses expand. He can feel the fabric of the universe vibrating, the energy of the battlefield before the first shot is even fired. And then, the Valari invade. Their ships descend on the outer planets with terrifying speed. The moons of Saturn, beautiful and ancient, are torn asunder, shattered by the Valari's immense power. The rings of Saturn ripple with the force of explosions as the Valari fleet unleashes destruction on an unimaginable scale. Their ships, horrifying, biomechanical creatures, are built to devour planets, capable of erasing everything in their wake. They fire their weapons, and entire moons crumble into dust, disappearing from existence as if they had never been. The Federation watches, helpless. Their fleets scatter in panic, unable to coordinate a defense against such a force. There is no victory, no counterattack, they are outmatched and outclassed. The Valari are an ancient species, more powerful and more terrifying than any of humanity's worst nightmares. They exist in a realm beyond the understanding of humankind. To the Valari, humanity is nothing more than an unpredictable glitch, a stain on the perfection they have maintained for eons. And they intend to eradicate it before it can threaten their control. But the Argonaut is not just another ship. It is no longer simply a weapon. It has evolved. It is alive, and it thinks. The ship, now fully integrated with its crew, begins to respond to the Valari threat with a precision that the invaders never anticipated. The ship's organic corridors pulse with energy, as if responding to the very heartbeat of the core, the force that has become the lifeblood of the Argonaut. Kyle's mind expands with newfound knowledge. The core does not simply offer power, it enhances his very being, bending the fabric of space and time to his will. He can sense the Valari fleet now, each movement, each ship, each tactical shift. He is no longer just a scientist, he is a commander, a leader capable of bending reality itself to protect humanity. The Argonaut reacts with grace and elegance. The ship does not fire weapons in the traditional sense. It does not rely on bombs, missiles, or energy beams. Instead, the ship manipulates the battlefield. It folds space around the Valari ships, disrupting their power and creating unstable pockets of time. The Valari's precision falters, their tactics unraveling as their ships are pulled into chaotic distortions of space. Kyle's mind guides the ship with ease, every movement intuitive, the core responding to his thoughts like a perfectly synchronized instrument. He feels the universe itself bending to his will, the battle unfolding in ways the Valari can't even comprehend. The Argonaut is a ship, but it is also a living organism, a weapon, yes, but one born of the chaotic, unpredictable force that is humanity. The Valari Ascendancy, so sure of their victory, begins to falter. Their ships lose coordination. Their once perfect design seemed flawed in the face of the Argonaut's unpredictable, living response. The core pulses with energy, drawing on the strange knowledge it has absorbed from the future, a future where humanity has learned to bend the very fabric of the universe. The battle, once seemingly hopeless, becomes a test of humanity's strength, of its ability to adapt, to survive. For the first time, the Valari Ascendancy is forced to confront the one thing they never prepared for, the unpredictability of humanity. And with Kyle at its helm, the Argonaut becomes not just a weapon of war, but a symbol of what humanity can achieve when it is forced to fight against extinction. The future is uncertain, but one thing is clear: humanity will not go quietly into the void. The final battle unfolds in the shadow of the Valari Flagship, a gargantuan biomechanical structure that looms over the battlefield like a celestial beast. The ship pulses with dark energy, its surface shifting and undulating as if it were alive, breathing in sync with the rhythm of the cosmos. Its hull is a dark amalgamation of twisted metal, alien sinew, and organic structures, each section interwoven with strands of biomechanical threads that seem to twitch with anticipation. It is not merely a weapon, it is the embodiment of the Valari Ascendancy's cold, unyielding will, a force capable of annihilating entire solar systems with its Singularity weapon. The weapon itself is a thing of terrifying beauty, a swirling, concentrated black hole housed in the belly of the flagship, ready to be unleashed with the flick of a switch. The Valari had used it to decimate entire worlds, erasing them from existence as though they were mere specks in the fabric of time. This weapon was their ultimate power, and the entire fleet hung upon its success. But humanity, battered and bruised, is not easily cowed. The Argonaut, now fully integrated with its crew, stands in stark contrast to the sleek and sterile perfection of the Valari. The ship, no longer simply a vessel, has become alive, its corridors alive with pulsing energy, its systems attuned to the very essence of Kyle Ren's mind. The core has chosen him, and in doing so, humanity has evolved. There are no longer any boundaries between the crew and the ship, between Kyle and the very future itself. They are one, bound by purpose, by resolve, by the unrelenting drive to survive. Kyle's mind, now interwoven with the Argonaut's core, feels a sudden rush of power, a surge of knowledge. The battlefield stretches before him in slow motion, his senses amplifying the flow of events around him. The Valari Flagship, once a symbol of invincibility, now seems vulnerable, its arrogance exposed. The Valari Ascendancy, so sure of their control, had underestimated the human spirit, their unpredictability, their ability to adapt, to innovate, to break the rules. The Singularity weapon of the flagship begins to glow, its dark heart pulsing with energy, as the Valari prepare to fire. But before they can unleash their weapon, Kyle moves. With a single thought, the Argonaut responds. The core vibrates with the energy of time itself, and reality bends around Kyle's will. The Valari's weapon, their most powerful tool, shifts. The energy that was meant to destroy now turns inward, reversing the flow of power and twisting the Singularity back upon itself. The flagship's core destabilizes as the Singularity collapses in on itself, imploding in a burst of energy that rips apart the heart of the ship. The Valari flagship folds upon itself, not in an explosion of fire, but in a silent, gravitational implosion. The immense craft disappears, as if it were never there, leaving only a void in its place. The Valari fleet, once a well-coordinated force of destruction, begins to crumble, Their ships, reliant on their flagship for direction, falter in the wake of the collapse. Their systems shut down, their weapons misfire, and the coordinated dance of destruction becomes a chaotic mess. Ships begin to disintegrate in mid-flight, their mechanical bodies no longer able to sustain the strain. The power of the Argonaut, of Kyle's mind and the ship's core, rewrites reality in their midst, erasing their cohesion and scattering the fleet like dust in the wind. The battle is won, but the war is far from over. Kyle, standing at the helm of the Argonaut, feels the weight of what has just happened. The Argonaut had done more than rewrite the battlefield, it had rewritten the future. Humanity, no longer bound by the constraints of the Federation or the Valari, has become something new, something unpredictable and dangerous. They have evolved, not just as individuals, but as a species capable of reshaping the universe itself. The Argonaut, a ship that once carried only humans, now carries something far greater, the potential of humanity's future, free from the shackles of alien domination. The crew, once human and now part alien, stands by Kyle's side. Their bodies are altered, their minds expanded, their potential limitless. They are no longer mere survivors, they are harbingers of a new era, an era where humanity will no longer cower in the shadows of the galaxy's more powerful races. They have tasted the power of the Argonaut, and they have seen what humanity can become when it embraces its potential. As the Argonaut drifts through the remnants of the battlefield, its glowing core pulsates with quiet satisfaction, its journey far from over. The Valari may be delayed, but they are not defeated. They will return, but humanity will be ready. The Argonaut has rewritten their future, and now, humanity will not just survive, it will rise. And so, the crew returns to Earth, not as heroes who have won the war, but as vessels of a new future, carrying the knowledge and power of the Argonaut. They are no longer bound by the old world, the old rules. They are something else now, a new breed of humanity, evolved, not through time, but through the raw, unpredictable force that is the human spirit. The Argonaut has not just given humanity a chance, it has shown them the path forward. The future is no longer a distant possibility, it is something that humanity will shape, something that humanity will conquer. And when the Valari return, they will find that the species they tried to erase has not only survived but has become something they could never have imagined, a force of nature capable of rewriting the very fabric of the universe itself. The Argonaut, now a living testament to humanity's resilience, floats silently in the vastness of space, a symbol of evolution and defiance. As its crew returns to Earth, no longer just human, but something greater, the galaxy knows that the Valari Ascendancy is not the final threat to humanity. We are not just survivors, we are the architects of our own future. The war is not over. The Argonaut has only begun to reveal its true power, and the enemies that lie ahead will be far more dangerous. But one thing is certain, humanity has evolved. We have broken free from the constraints of the old world. Now, we stand ready to face the unknown, to conquer what was once thought impossible. The Valari will return, but humanity will be ready. If you want to join us on this journey into the unknown, where humanity rises to meet the greatest challenges the universe can throw at us, make sure to subscribe to HFY Sci-Fi Love and War Story. We're just getting started, and you won't want to miss what happens next. Stay tuned, because the future is ours to shape.